god or gods worked on these for who knows how long.
Yeah.
And they've been developed with such care and devotion that it cannot be broken.
Do you mind if I record all this shit that you're telling me? No, I really.
Yeah,
It's
sure.
recording it for posterity
Oh,
because
yeah.
there's actually some intelligent conversations that come out of here.
Yeah.
They're hard to believe.
Yeah. So, yeah, the difference here is night and day, man.
Yeah, I know.
Because,
It's a beautiful facility.
because over there, I always expected, no, we can't do that because of this.
Yeah.
And no, I can't do that because of this.
Right.
Or, you know what, they won't let us because of this. I got so used to expecting a negative answer that I would blown over whenever I said, really?
Well, you know what, Ron? I think that anybody that has worked for a living has accustomed him or herself to being denied solutions that are common sense.
Right.
No, Ron, no, that's not your role. That's not you to say that.
Yeah.
You're not high up enough on the tree
Yeah.
to have that kind of observation. Sorry.
Matter of fact, I really can't listen to you because you're just a patient,
Yeah.
right? And what would you know?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like saying, it is my body. And I can...
Well, technically, Ron, it's not.
It's not. According to Clause 5, Section 6.
So Section 6. Once you put it out with the trash, it's
Yeah.
no longer yours.
No longer
It
yours.
belongs to the community.
Yes. Yes.
Well,
Yes, I loved it.
I've already put 3 in there.
Oh, you have? Okay. Excellent.
Kind of like, unless you've aggressively asserted
No.
your autonomy
I
at
would,
this moment, your ass belongs to us.
even I would not push to number 4. I've always kept number 3 as my limit. And like I keep Diane, don't worry, Diane, I'm working on it. I'm going to cut down.
Why?
Yeah, well, that was
That was the thing.
prior
Like,
to this.
Diabetes?
Yeah. I don't know. She said, Ron, too much sugar. Well,
This
to
was
me,
Diane.
it's just enough.
This was Diane.
Yeah.
The borderline diabetic that eats
Yeah.
sugar every chance she gets. Like that Diane.
That Diane.
Okay. Just checking.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, we were, and even as soon as was it September,
Yeah.
we found out. And I remember she made soup for me, and I was putting salt in it.
Yeah.
And she said, Ron, too much salt is bad. I looked back and I said, really? Really?
Salt? You want me to worry about salt?
Salt? I wish. I wish to God I was that.
Yeah, you wish salt was your biggest worry.
Yeah.
Right?
Jeez.
Yeah, see, and now, Jesus Christ, you're being weighted hand and foot to bring you anything you want.
Jeez, yeah. I think if this place was licensed,
Yeah.
they'd probably let me have a beer.
Well, I could probably bring you a beer.
But unbelievable. So,
I wonder if you'd be able to stomach a non-alcoholic beer. They are really good. I don't know if you can handle the bubbles. Have you ever had anything carbonated since?
Not really.
No?
No. And I had that, I remember I had the real beer. I had
That
like
didn't
a
sit.
quarter, and it didn't sit very well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But,
You know, maybe what I'll do, maybe I'll bring a couple, put them in the fridge. And if you're ever feeling brave, maybe, even if it's just a sip, right? Kind of like what the Survivor Man does when he's testing if something is poison, right? He puts a little bit on his skin, and then he puts a bit on his lips, and then he waits a few hours to see.
oh yeah,
And if he's still alive,
he's still alive.
then, he exposes himself a little more.
Yeah. That's that Discovery show, isn't it?
Les Stroud.
Oh, Les Stroud.
He wrote a great book.
Oh, yeah.
10 stories about, and I think most of them were in the news,
Right.
about people that went out in nature, got hopelessly overwhelmed by it, and perished.
Oh,
Or, actually, not all of them perished, but came close. Some of them.
right.
And he goes through it step by step as to, in his ideas,
Right.
what these people did wrong, where they were unprepared,
Right.
what they could have done to become more prepared.
Yeah.
And one of the guys he talks about is that guy that walked out to that Les McCandless. Is he the one that walked out to that school bus there in Alaska?
What? Maybe the name is familiar.
Rick McCandless?
Could be.
Into the Wild.
Okay, Into the Wild, right.
You remember that,
yes.
You remember that story?
Yes, Into
Yeah.
the Wild.
Well, anyway, he talked about that guy, and he was
Okay,
young.
right.
No wilderness experience whatsoever. He wasn't a particularly independent individual.
Right.
Every single step of the way, he relied on somebody's generosity to get him out of a jam.
Yeah.
To get him supplies, to get him food, to get him this, to get him that. The guy was not resourceful at all.
No.
He was just barely resourceful enough to get out of the vehicle and walk into the wild.
And he was, yes. I mean, he needed help just getting that.
Everything, yeah. I mean, it's a very compelling story.
Yeah.
But the guy was terribly unprepared. It's amazing how he became such a cult figure.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was the book,
Yeah, because
the whole idea
wasn't there a
behind the
movie
story.
made about it?
Yeah, there was a movie, there was a book.
Yes.
They even had to helicopter the bus out of there and move it because tourists would
People were going there.
and they were getting into trouble.
Really?
But a lot of them were just as unprepared as he was.
Sure. They probably thought, oh, how dangerous could it be? Because
Yeah.
after all, so many people are doing this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then you end up
And
saying,
hey, I got a cell phone, I'll be rescued.
right, exactly. Exactly. Well, when you're up in Alaska, cell phone won't necessarily be of any help to you.
Right.
You know, when there's 20 inches of snow and it's blowing, and they can't even send a rescue helicopter
Yeah.
because it's just too wild out there.
He was another story. This one's a wild one. His young family. I was in California. You know the Sierras, they got snow, right?
Oh, yeah.
Lots of it. This guy and his girlfriend and their little baby decide they're going to go see grandma over the next mountain range.
Right.
Highways are closed because of a snowstorm.
Mm-hmm.
So this highly intelligent person decides, well, the highways are closed. I wonder if the fire roads are still open.
Oh,
So he went down fire roads. No equipment, no food for the baby. I think they had a pack of gum and maybe one diaper and a bottle of water.
really?
They were out there for like, I don't know, 3 days.
Wow.
It was insane. I can't remember how many lived and how many died, but it was awful.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
A little place like that, you gotta be over and above prepared.
Oh yeah,
Right.
you have to be prepared for the worst, because you know the ones that aren't, they die. When something goes wrong, there's nobody to save you, especially in the middle of a storm.
It's not just an inconvenience to you.
No. You got to make sure you got whatever you need to ride it out. Right?
Mm-hmm. Totally. Yeah. So, Diane was here, of course, today.
Okay, I haven't even talked to her. How'd that go?
Good, good. She usually comes in the morning,
Right.
usually around 10 o'clock. But, and then I shoo her away, usually around, I try between 2 and 3.
Okay, so she can go home and take care of the
Exactly,
dogs.
because you know what, if I didn't, she would tend to overstay,
Right.
and I mean by not harming me,
Right.
but she needs a rest, right?
Yeah.
And it gives her time to do what she needs to do at home,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Spend some time with the dogs,
Right.
And if she wants to visit one of her friends,
Mm-hmm.
she's got the time to do it.
Right.
And, well, you know, Diane, I mean, she's a very social person, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's her niche.
Yes.
You know, she's not comfortable being by herself for any length of time.
Right.
She just isn't. For you and I, it doesn't bother us the least bit.
Right.
But for her, even though, you know, she could watch a movie or read a book, right? If you ask her what she'd rather do, say, or do you want to play cards with such and such? She'd rather play cards.
Yeah.
Or just talk.
Yeah.
And I wanna make sure she doesn't cut that off just because I'm here. You know what I mean?
Right.
But you know, I think she's getting more relaxed with the whole ideal.
Yeah.
You know, it's slow going, but I think she's much more, I don't know what the word to use, but like realistic and in tune with maybe what her life's going to be like.
Yeah.
And it's not as horrible as she once thought.
Well, that's a pretty daunting thing to face, right? Initially,
it is.
I mean, for everybody. You know,
Oh yeah, I mean,
it's a scary thing.
it is. But I'm glad to see that she's.
Yeah, I see that. You know what? The times I've talked to her, she's come around. She's got a much greater acceptance over what the future looks like.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there was a time when she couldn't even think about it, and then she couldn't verbalize it, and now she can talk about it.
Yeah, like she didn't even want to talk about it.
Right.
But I tried to discuss the subject, right?
Right.
But she just didn't want to do it. She'd always tell me, we'll talk about it tomorrow. We'll talk about it tomorrow. And tomorrow never came, of course, right?
Right.
But especially, you know, we had that good, when they gave me that Ritalin.
Yeah.
And
great stuff.
Great stuff. And
good stuff for a slacker student.
Oh, I can see why a student, because if I was going to university and if I was under pressure, I'd probably take the stuff too.
Yeah.
But you know, we had a great time. Lori, Diane and myself, in which, you know, we basically got all the financial questions answered.
Yes.
Which really was number one on my mind.
Yeah.
Right? Because you always want your wife to be taken care of.
Do you?
Well, right?
All right. Jeez, Ron, you're so traditional.
There's nothing worse than thinking, you know, you're dead, and you can hear your wife already swearing and saying, why didn't he tell me where it was? Or where the heck is this?
Yeah.
And Jesus, what did he want me to do? And stuff like that. So now with Lori recording it, their phone, right? There's no, oh no, he wanted, or no discussion. Here it is.
Here it is.
Right? And this is the plan. And I told her, hey, this is my initial plan, my concept. But of course, I won't be around.
Yeah.
So, you know, things are going to change. You know, and the original plan that I've given you is going to have to be, you know, it's going to have to be changed.
Yeah.
Because the world changes, your life's going to change.
It'll be modified as it goes along, as need be.
It's a platform, right?
Yeah.
And after that,
it's an outline,
and I like the fact that Lori is going to help her out with that. You know, so all that is not to be, you know, it takes it off my mind. You know?
You know what, Lori, you guys are so lucky to have Lori
Oh,
helping her out. She is an incredible person, smart, and boy, and so compassionate, and she will
Yeah.
be just a great help
Oh,
to Diane. You don't have to
absolutely.
worry about any of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, let's face it, eh? She knows so many of the shortcuts
Yeah.
and back doors and ways to approach, especially the medical people.
Hi.
Sorry to interrupt.
No.
No,
Are you
no.
still working on dinner?
You know,
We can leave it if you want to reheat later, or what would you like?
well, you know what? Yeah, if you could just leave it
Yeah.
here. And
Whenever you're ready. You
Okay.
can always pop it in the microwave.
great, thank you.
You're welcome.
It's nice to know person who knows the insides out of the hospital industry, right? Because you get grinded up in there and not even know it.
You know, she was instrumental in many stages of this with Vlad,
Mm-hmm.
touching base with Vlad and Kim, and just,
Right.
you know, like a lot of the things that were put into motion. If it wasn't for her, there would have been a lot of floundering
Oh,
on
yeah.
our part, you know, because I
Wasted
mean,
time.
who do you don't exactly phone 311 for this, right?
Exactly.
And I tell you, if it hadn't have been for Lori, you would have been screwed with a capital S, because
Yeah,
she was so helpful.
because it's complicated, right?
Can you imagine
All
doing this
complicated.
alone? And there are people that navigate
Oh.
this shit all alone. I can't imagine how difficult that is for them.
How do they get well under those kind of circumstances?
Well, they
Right.
probably go to the hospital and stay there, and then they're at the mercy,
Right.
providing there's room, right?
Yes.
But if there isn't room, they send you home with supports, home care, right?
Right.
Like, who even opens the door for home care if the person
Yeah.
is bedridden, right?
You're right. Like, who opens the fucking door?
Yeah,
And us, double complicated because we got dogs.
yeah,
So who opens the door?
yeah,
Who puts the dogs out?
yeah.
Who does this and who does that, right?
hmm
Yeah, it's friggin' scary. Friggin'
Yeah.
scary.
It's a huge task.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, it's,
Yeah. Yeah, I was so relieved to find out that you guys had that talk and that the Ritalin really, because it sounded like, because you were so foggy for so long, with the pain, and
yeah.
you know, it just totally saps all the energy out of you. I mean, and you know, you haven't been on it for what, 2 days now, 3 days,
Yeah.
and you're still sharp as a tack.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think it's sort of,
Ron, you weren't this sharp a year ago.
yeah.
You know.
I think it gave time for, well, as the doctor said, you know, you get hit by so many different drugs at once.
Yeah.
I think it also gave time for your body to assimilate all this
Yeah.
and sort it out. You know what I
Break the
mean?
cycle or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
Because I haven't had to increase my pain pills at all.
So where are you at with your pain pills right now?
Really, like the same. I'm taking the same pills.
The same 6 milligram in the morning.
Well, I think it's
And
more like the original pain pill has been replaced by methadone.
Yeah, they're giving you methadone.
So that seems to have replaced the original.
Oh, okay, no more hydromorph.
I still get a sleeping pill at night.
Right?
And I think I got something for cortisone or something. I'm not quite right. I'm not quite sure.
Well, maybe something for thyroid.
I think so. I
They,
think
you
for
know what?
thyroid.
Come to think of it, they didn't. There was some mention of a steroid. I don't know. Boy, I can't remember. That was
Yeah,
that was many conversations.
I remember that too.
Something about a steroid.
Steroid came into the conversation.
Yeah,
Maybe Tim was talking about it.
yeah, it would have been Tim.
You know, but yeah. So it's not like my drugs really haven't increased,
Right?
and I've taken very few breakthrough
Yeah.
pills
That's good.
because they're unlike over there. They're so gentle when they do stuff with you.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
So I like that fact. So, yeah, I mean, I really don't want for anything, honestly.
Yeah.
You know, so I play it day by day,
Yeah.
right? And it's nice. I get visitors. And by about, 8 o'clock-ish,
Yeah.
it slows down, but I've never been tired out by a visitor.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Yeah,
Because I know sometimes it's like you've had people in your face for like almost a year,
right.
at least 6 months, and for such a private guy, that's been a huge change for you. And you're okay with.
I have no
You don't want me to
problem.
run security at the door and
Yeah.
get some big guy called Bruno
Yeah.
screening them?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but no, I've had no problem.
Good.
And people, of course, been exceedingly nice.
Yeah.
And
Well, we can fix that.
yeah, but hey, I was wondering, were you interested in coming here during the Super Bowl, or what?
Well, I thought, you'll be with Cole, right? You'll be with Cole.
I got
and
Cole.
Glenn.
Yeah.
You don't see them a whole lot. It's okay.
Okay.
I don't want to fill the room.
No, the invitation's there.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
And if you ever feel,
Yeah.
geez,
Yeah.
'cause I think right now I got Cole coming.
Right.
I got Glenn.
Mm-hmm.
Whether Joe's coming or not,
Right.
that's in
You
question.
don't know. Yeah.
Don't know. Then I got Grant across the lane.
Yeah, Grant Rickman.
Yeah.
Is he coming?
Well, I called him today.
Okay.
I gave him an invite,
Yeah.
so he's going to check with his better half
Okay.
and see what up. But I know that year after year, he usually watches the Super Bowl.
Okay.
And of course, it'd be a great opportunity to see him,
Yeah.
if for no other reason, right?
Yeah.
We've been neighbors and friends for well over 30 years.
Yeah.
Right.
I remember seeing him across what the hell are you doing living here?
Yeah,
Like, holy shit, you're my brother's neighbor?
yeah, remember?
Yeah.
He used to live in the apartment
He lived
block.
in the apartment. Yeah. He babysat Simon and Matthew
Yeah.
a couple of times.
Yeah, so I'm hoping
Yeah.
he can make it.
Yeah.
And how many people is that? That's not very much. 4 or 5 people.
Yeah.
That's well contained within here.
Yeah. But
And we can borrow,
you're gonna borrow a couple of chairs.
couple of
that's
chairs.
good.
and we got a fridge,
Yeah.
and people can bring
Yeah. It's a fridge.
their snacks.
Yeah.
And let's face it, more than anything, the game is secondary.
Yes.
It's just getting together,
Well, yeah.
doing some yapping
Yeah.
about anything,
Yes.
right? So
Yeah.
like I say, it's
Yeah.
you got an open invitation,
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't invite Paul because he has no interest in watching sports
No.
in any way, capacity. Never has. He loves
Really?
play-
And yet he's played.
Hey, I've never. The two just.
No,
In my mind,
it doesn't interest him.
Oh.
If he's not playing, he's not interested.
Exactly.
Yeah, I knew somebody else like that. I knew
Yeah.
a tennis guy. There was a guy I knew. He played a lot of tennis, and I asked him, and this is the time of like Jimmy Connors and McEnroe and
Oh,
Borg and all these
yes.
guys, and it was to me it was a very high profile thing.
It
back
was.
then.
It
And
was.
I asked, well, did you watch this? Did you? No, he didn't even know what I was talking about. But
Really?
he was an avid player, but he played. He
Right.
didn't watch, he played.
Wow.
If he wasn't playing, he was doing other things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, for me, they're interconnected.
Yeah.
I love watching it, and especially if there's something that I'm physically doing too. Like I
Yeah.
used to love watching skiing.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, Franz Klammer and,
Franz Klammer.
and the Crazy Canucks.
Yeah, the Crazy Canucks.
Yeah.
That was a magic time for skiing, anyway.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I still watch it. I love it.
yeah, it's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Just phenomenal how they can keep control, and they're going over 100 miles an hour on those slopes.
Yeah.
And you know that on the TV does not really show you the slope. Right.
Once in a while, you can see the angle, but
Yeah.
usually it looks flat. But once in a while, you can appreciate and
Yeah,
like wow, they're almost vertical.
like some of those slopes are like 50 degrees, right?
Yeah.
Like crazy.
Yeah.
But
and for a long ways.
Yes, and if you've never skied before,
Yeah.
you look on TV and say, "That doesn't look that bad."
That's not scary.
Well, what do you mean? It looks kind of.
Try it.
I think I've done that on a toboggan run. It wasn't too bad.
And that's what it felt like when I did Spring Hill, that gentle little hill.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought, oh man, my eyeballs just flattened right out from that.
Yeah, good old. That's what that's what I started. I started at Spring Hill.
Yeah, well, you know what? That after that, once you and I started skiing, and I just went nuts for it.
Yeah.
I started looking forward to winter way more.
Right.
Than I used to. I mean, it's so awesome how it gives you something to look forward to.
Yeah.
In this season where everybody else just thinks of shoveling and cold and misery, and we're kind of anxious for it.
I was waiting for the snow. I remember.
Yeah.
Geez, is it gonna? Oh, it's supposed to snow this week. And sometimes, I'd go. For me, it was so convenient because after work. I would go right after work. Well, after we had supper.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'd miss supper, and I'd go right to the slopes after work. And there were some days it was like -30.
Yeah, I know. I did that.
Holy mother!
I had a season pass. I used it as much as I could.
Okay.
Yeah, brought Ripley a couple of times.
Like crazy, you frosted up all over.
It's so much fun. And the place is empty.
Yes.
It's just the poor sap at the bottom running the chair.
Right.
Right. Freezing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's probably thinking, get the hell, why don't you go in and spend some time indoors so I can take a break out of this cold.
In 2019, I was still at Bayview. Yeah, I was at Bayview. And then like winter 2019, and then Christmas, and then spring came, and it started being this COVID scare.
Right.
And I was really hoping to go to Whitefish in Montana.
Ooh.
In March. I'd never been there. I had looked at. You know what my plan was? I was going to drive to I don't know if it was Grand Forks or Amtrak, or Fargo, and take the Amtrak.
Oh wow.
That would have been, and then you just sleep for however many hours, read, relax.
You don't worry about it.
You don't have to worry, right?
Right.
I figured this is going to be a once in a lifetime thing,
Yeah.
Phone Ron, see if he's available. Of course he is. And then frickin' COVID hit. So I figured, well, I'll use that money. I'm going to buy a motorcycle, which I enjoyed.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have enjoyed Whitefish a lot more, but you know what? Hey, that wasn't even available anymore.
Right.
Everything just shut down.
I don't know how many, if there was any ski resorts.
No, everything shut down.
Yeah.
Everything shut down. There was no way to get to them.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And there was nobody to work there if you did get to them. I mean, it was okay if you were these really ambitious guys that started doing this in the last few years, where they buy these big, like these hang gliding kind of chutes.
Right.
Because what they would do, they would go in the afternoon when the wind is going up, right? Up the slope. They would unfold these things, and then the wind would pull them up the slopes on skis. So they got an uphill toe, right?
Wow.
And then they'd fold it all. And they were doing this in the backcountry.
Really?
And then, and then they ski down again. And yeah, it was cool. Really neat idea.
Wow. But yeah, I mean, COVID really threw such a monkey wrench into so many
everything.
things.
Like millions and millions of people thrown out of work just by virtue of the fact that you can't be around people anymore, right?
Right. And you know what? It's still, even though it's technically, I guess, over,
Well, it's endemic now. I think it's been declared endemic.
and we're feeling the effects are still being felt.
Yeah.
How many restaurants couldn't they survived COVID, but when it ended, they're left with not enough capital to
Right.
keep running.
Yeah, they were operating on savings.
Operating on savings.
Yeah.
Their staff had to leave,
Mm-hmm.
right? Hey, I got to make a living.
Yeah.
If you're closed,
Yeah.
right? And the staff is not coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Like just in Winnipeg
Yeah.
itself, I was reading the paper today, and there was another 3 restaurants, fairly well known, that are closing because
Really?
yeah,
Because of stuff?
basically yes,
Okay.
the staff, they've sort of drained their savings, right, just to survive to this point.
Yeah.
But their costs now have been hit by 25%.
Oh, the groceries.
They got to pay their people more money now,
Yeah.
and they just can't. They look at the food, they say, "Really, we can't do it.
This, yeah.
We close now, or we'll go into bankruptcy
Or drain completely.
Right.
So there's nothing left, and then still close.
Exactly.
Do you remember which restaurants?
Oh, not really.
Oh, it was in the Free Press?
Is the paper
Yeah,
still
it's
here?
right here.
Yeah, it is in the Free Press. Well, you heard about Cells, closing?
Yeah, the one in the North
Yeah.
End.
I mean, that, according to the owner, it's not COVID related.
Right,
It's the smallest restaurant they have.
right.
It just doesn't fit into their future plans.
Right.
But yeah, there's an article there.
Is Burton Cummings still involved in that? He was for a while, wasn't he?
He was.
I mean, his picture's in all of them.
He
just
was
about.
a co-owner